Good evening, and if you're just tuning in, you are listening live to the Angel Rock on 105.3 and 107.7 out of New Orleans, Louisiana. I am your host, Lorilei Potvin. I'm also a host on the network of my newer show that I co-host on Thursday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed, with my amazing co-host David Hansel. And if you've never been here before, welcome, and welcome to all our returning audience members that we have here. You know, I always make you guys and ladies a big part of the show. I have a returning favorite guest here who I will introduce in just 1 second. I'm just going to go through a few little housekeeping things here. First of all, I'm not streaming the Angel Rock on Roku. We're doing it with Hi Zachary Powers. We're doing it with The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. I may rotate it and try it, but we do have a lot of the shows on Roku. So we've got our own TV channel. So if you want to find it, you go to the channel store and you're going to search UFO space P as in paranormal. There'll be a list that'll come down. You're looking for UFO Space Paranormal and United Public Radio. Hi, Christopher James. He says hello to both you and I.
Hello.
I always love to say hi to everybody and pull them into the conversation. As you know, you've been here. Hang on, I'll get all this stuff. We were chatting before. We could have talked all night. Anyway, so feel free to watch us on Roku. I want to remind everybody, too, if you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends and family about our network, because there's something for everybody on this network. We have multiple shows streaming almost into actually daytime and night. And when we aren't streaming live, we have our archive server streaming. So there's shows that go back. This network's been around for 25 plus years. Some great shows. We also have a lot of syndicated shows. We've got new hosts, new shows. There's something for everyone. So please share. What else do I want to say on here? I think, if you're on Facebook, so a few options. First of all, you can go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give them permission to use your picture and your name. It's just a click, like a quick click. My brain is not working tonight, guys. I need some coffee. And they'll give you permission, and I'll know who you are, and so will Carmen. Otherwise, if you don't want to do that, please put your name behind the comment. I usually point out when something comes up as Facebook user, because I know you might not know that, because we have no idea who you are. And if you want to stay anonymous, that's okay too. Okay, I think I've told you guys everything. We got an audience favorite returning this evening. She's been on my show many times. We love her. She's recently been on Coast to Coast AM too, I saw. Congratulations.
Thank you.
She is pumping books out like nobody's. I'll tell you a little bit about her. Carmen Turner-Schott. She's an author. She's got her master's in social work, and she is an incredible astrologer. I'm sure her ears are burning all the time, because with talking to various people, and with myself I forgot to tell you who I am after I tell her. I should do that. I'll tell you that before. I'm a Canadian clairvoyant medium, crystal energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, and registered nurse. See, now you know I don't read a script. Anyways, with Carmen, I find in my field I would be considered a light worker. I know a bit about astrology. Like, there's a certain group of us, and you either love it or it's like, I haven't got a clue what people are talking about. I'm getting goosebumps talking about this. It's not cold in here. I swear to God. It's my sign for truth. But the first time you came on my show and you started talking about the 8th and the 12th houses, which I know we're going to talk a bit about tonight, and you explained what astrology was, I went, holy crap, I finally understand what it's all about. And you know what else I connected?
Cool. What?
It's that we never come here alone. Like, you have your own
Yes.
map. So we're going to be discussing your newest book, Phoenixes and Angels. So welcome, Carmen. Crazy intro tonight. My God, I know. I have your book on the back. That's what I used today.
You do have it? Good.
I don't think I have the book, but I have the cover. And so I try to do that.
Yeah, Gavin usually emails them out, but
he might have, but I think we set this up ourselves.
Yeah,
I don't think I went to. We should give Gavin a shout out.
I'll put it. Yeah, he's the publicist, so I go into the system and I'll put this down that we did this.
Okay.
And but I'll try to get you a book,
because Gavin normally always
sends it. Okay? We can at least get you an e-file of it. To Perfect. Usually Yeah. So
Because you know what
yeah,
happens? We've gotten to know each other. You've had
yeah, because we're
so many
friends.
incredible books. I think we
Yeah,
set this up ourselves.
we did.
I
Now that I'm
know.
thinking about it,
Hi,
yeah.
Shannon. Welcome. We got Shannon here. Like
Hi,
I said,
Shannon.
Zach, Christopher, James. That's what I wanted to remember and say. If you guys want to join in the conversation so we can see your comments, I even tagged you on your YouTube channel too when I
Oh,
posted
cool,
this on YouTube to Carmen. You can
cool.
watch the show. I always forget to tell Carmen, but she's going to duck out a few minutes early, anyways. But
Yeah,
normally, when I do my normal thing, I have a write up and I tell people that they can stream to their own channels. But that's okay. I'll make sure she gets a copy to put on her channels.
yeah. I
But
haven't figured out how I got an account in here, but I'm scared. I haven't done it yet. I'll get.
I'll walk you through because I know
Okay.
you'll be back on. But just so if you
Yes.
guys want to join in the conversation, you can head over to Facebook and you're going to go to UFO Paranormal Radio, either
All right.
Facebook or you can go to the YouTube channel. You can go to my Facebook profile. It's open to the public. I'm streaming there. I'm also streaming on my YouTube channel, The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. Numerous platforms on Facebook, including Canada's Most Haunted, Michelle DeRoche's channel. I mean, we got all over the place. And if you miss this, because this is people's biggest thing, oh my gosh, I can't be there for the live show or I'm going to miss it. Never worry, because we always have archives. They're either on Facebook, they're on my YouTube channel, they're on UPRN, and
Yeah.
anywhere where talk radio is carried, we are carrying the archives. So we're talking SoundCloud, Podbean, iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify, you name it. You will. I have found UPRN even on the most obscure apps. Hello, Kelly. Hi, Ken.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so now you were just here with a new book, and now you've got this new one. I'm really excited by the
Yeah.
title. So you got to tell us first of all why the
Yes.
title. Like,
Yes. Phoenixes and Angels, mastering the 8th and 12th astrological house. So how I started researching the 8th and 12th houses. They're my favorite houses in astrology, is because when I was younger, no one could explain my spiritual, unexplained experiences.
mhm,
And when I was 16, that's what kind of got me into astrology was, these unexplained things that no one could explain. And I bought my first astrology book and that I taught myself how to do it, do the chart, do the
mhm.
wheel by hand. Back in those days, we didn't have computers. So I had to draw it and I just obsessed with it. And I loved it because for the first time, I realized I have the sun in the 12th house and the moon in the 8th house and other planets in the 8th. And I realized, wow, this validates why I am different and why I dream things that happen, why I feel energy, why I'm sensitive. And it became my passion to research these two houses. And I've just been doing it for 30 years. I mean, I started out doing charts at 19, just collecting research all these years, and I figured out there's different patterns. I call it 5 key patterns
Mhm.
of people that have planets in the 8th or 12th. And what that means is you either have the sun, the moon, or 3 or more planets in one of these houses. That
Mhm.
makes you an 8th houser or a 12th houser, or you have a lot of Scorpio energy in your birth chart or a lot of Pisces energy, because Pisces rules the 12th house and Scorpio rules the 8th house. So it's the energy of those signs have to do with the issues of those houses. So all
You
the
might have to
houses,
explain to people. I'm just realizing we might have
yes,
to back up a bit and explain houses, but I'm going to tell you guys very quickly. We'll make sure we give you the site, but Carmen is so generous. You go to her website. She will give you a birth chart. I'm going to talk in a 1-page birth chart here. It is so comprehensive and explains it. But I'm going to tell you how good Carmen is. Okay. I don't know the exact birth time that I was born exactly, give or take a half hour. And I didn't say that to Carmen. I didn't even think about it. The first time she was on my show and I sent it to her and she messaged me back 10 minutes and she goes, "Is there any way your birthday could be like 30 minutes one way or the other?" And I went, "Oh my gosh, like how would you know that?" And she did, and she was right. Like she is incredible and she explains
great.
it so well. So maybe we should back up because I
Yeah, the
get so excited
basics.
because we got new people here that have not
Oh, yeah.
seen about astrology. So what is astrology and these houses you're talking about? Because
Yes.
that's where it loses a lot of people.
Yes. So we'll make it real basic. So when you're born,
Mhm.
most people know what their sun sign is, the month and day of your birth. But to know your whole birth chart, what we use is the astrologers use is your month, day, and year of birth. We need your exact time of birth, AM or PM, because that will change everything that's going on in the sky when you're born. So the time is so important to know what area of life, which we call the houses, the planets are in your birth chart, which is the map of your soul. Okay. And then we need to know the city, state, country of your birth, right? So let me give an example. So when you're born and you're looking up from Earth at the sky, at the moment, place, time of your birth, all of the planets were in a certain star constellation in the sky. We have 12 sun signs, 12 constellations, 10 major planets, okay? And we have asteroids and all this stuff, which astrologers get into, but I'm not even going to go there. We have 10 major planets, and those planets are in one of the signs, the zodiac signs, and they're in an area of the sky, which astrologers break into 12 sections like a pie, okay? And we take a picture of the sky, the moment, time, place, year, date of your birth, and we put it on a piece of paper. And it looks, and what we do is it's symbols. It's a wheel with 12 sections. The 12 sections are the houses. Each house rules an area of your life. So, like, for instance, all the planets are going to be in a certain sign and house, and that's what the wheel is. And the wheel, if you go on astro.com or you go on my website, I can always send you, but you can go to astro.com right now and do a free birth wheel and see what I'm talking about. And you can see that the houses are numbered 1 to 12, and it's like a pie. And if you imagine inside that wheel is the earth. So that's because we're taking a picture of the sky, which is your soul map, and your soul chose to come in and be born at that time, place of birth. So even twins can have a different birth chart.
Yeah, they would.
And the reason is because the moon moves through each sign every 2 to 3 days. Some planets move quicker. You know, we know that everybody born on August 26th, that's my birthday. We know that
I didn't know you were August 26th. I'm August 15th. You're August 26th.
Right. Yeah. So that means that everyone born on August 26th, the sun was in the sign of Virgo. But if you were born on August 22nd, or the sun could be in Leo or Virgo, because we call that cusp.
On the cusp, right?
Cuspers. So, you know, you might be right before the sun goes in, you know, according to the books and online, into a new sign. That means that you're going to have personality traits of both those sun signs. And typically, you're going to have more of the personality traits of the sign the sun is moving into in the sky. So, for instance, Kelly, I think you said August 21st. Yeah. So the sun is in Leo, but it's going to be moving into Virgo. So you might feel a little bit more like a Virgo than you do a Leo, or you have a little bit of traits of both, right, in your personality, because you're what we call a cusper. And but that birth chart is your destiny, your karma. It shows your spiritual abilities, your spiritual gifts. It shows your challenges, your relationships, your karma, your soul mission, your career, what kind of careers are good for you, what kind of people you attract. Also, where you have some trauma, where you have some wounds, where you need to heal. The chart shows everything, your illness, your physical illnesses that you're prone to, your vulnerabilities. It's everything about you. And that's because astrology is a science. It's energy, just like everything. Our body is made up of mostly water. So, of course, the full moon affects our emotional nature. The moon sign rules our emotions, our inner nature, because the full moon affects animals. It affects the tides of the ocean. Of course, it affects us, right? And so we just had a full moon, right? Just last week.
We got 2 this month, right?
Yes, 2 super moons is what they call them. And they're very powerful energy and very bright in the sky. I think even one they called a blue moon. The moon looks almost like it's blue. And this is a very special month, you know, with 2 moons in 1 month. So during a full moon.
And Lionsgate too. Like, we've got a lot going on this month.
There's a lot of astrological energy. And that's the thing about astrology. I try to teach it on a very basic level. So
you do, because I'm going to stop you for 1 sec there. Honestly, you were the first person that I have ever understood, and I don't say this with any disrespect to any other teacher, just some people are natural born teachers. They're never condescending, but they can break down these type of concepts. So everybody can understand,
Yeah.
and that is you. But you know what really connected with me, and I'm getting goosebumps again, when you said, I remember the first time you were on, you said it's a snapshot of the sky and it's a map
Yeah.
of your soul. I went,
Yeah.
holy cow, people think they're alone. They think they're here by accident. We are not. We are here on purpose. I've always known that, but we're not alone. You've been given a map. You've been given guides. You've been given
Yes.
so many things. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. Kelly, you're welcome to go to my website and email me through the website, and I can schedule a consult with you. No problem. I on my consultations page, I mix Akashic records with astrology. So I'm trained in the Akashic records. So I open up your soul reading the Akashic records, and I handwrite what comes through the images, and then I look at your chart. I connect it all together and do a deep counseling session with you. So that's kind of how I do the chart. But yeah,
I
you can.
talk about you a lot because even off air,
Yeah,
and we are whole circle. Like I always joke, your muggle job, right? But you even
yeah,
use astrology with the work you're doing as a social worker. But I'm talking to people all the time, and I
yes,
have connected you with a lot of people. And I don't say that from ego, but I keep telling you are going to love Carmen. She's so incredible. And most of the people that I seem to be around don't
yeah.
understand astrology, and they're like, holy cow, I understand it now.
That makes me so happy because like this is my passion,
Mhm.
and like my goal, like my mission, my chart shows, and it took me 47 years to do it. I mean, it took me a while to get a published book, right? I mean, I've been writing and wanting to publish books for years, but it had to be the right time. And now it's like I'm doing what my soul mission is, my north node. I'm teaching this stuff on a basic level. I'm writing about it. I'm talking about that's what I'm supposed to do. And so trying to explain, even like, some astrologers are so high tech and they're so, I even have comments like, you're not a real astrologer, because I don't get into the
But
degrees and
that's why, because
yes,
the people don't, unless you're an astrologer, you have no idea what the moon and that is in the 12th
yes,
house and this house and that house. People get lost in it, and
yes,
you really give you the information without all the extraneous, we'll call it BS, that
yes,
people can understand what's going on. Like
yeah.
actually, Kelly just said you were literally the first person who actually said I'm a cusper.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do want to go back just a
Oh,
few minutes. We got a few comments. I like to
sure.
involve everybody.
Yes, yes.
So, like I said, we said hi to Christopher. We said hi to Zach. And Shannon's here. Ken, I used to go to high school with him.
Oh,
Actually, he said
nice.
he lives in Southern Ontario. He said he's dropping in for a few minutes. Kelly
Oh,
said, hello, beautiful ladies. Hope you are all well. And then Sandra, she's such a big supporter of our show.
nice.
She's here. She's really gifted. There's one comment I do want to address here. Hi, Amanda. She said, hello. Can I send you another photo of something we caught on camera again? I would love it, but we're not going to talk about that today. But you know where I see that you sent them to me? You know where we'll talk about it? On Thursday night with Dave, because I don't know if I've told you about the new show or not. I probably have, Carmen, but it's the thing at the foot of the bed,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So people ask us the questions like what you'll get asked, or I or
Sure,
David do, and
sure.
it's kind of audience driven. So people can send pictures
Oh,
in
neat.
and
Nice, nice.
yeah. So Shannon had a good joke here. She says, I was born face down. That makes sense why I am the way I am.
Yeah, I mean, astrology. I call myself a psychological astrologer. So what I use it for is a counseling tool
Mhm,
because I believe it can help people heal, transform, and become more resilient by tapping into your sun sign, your moon sign, your personality strengths.
mhm,
You can heal, you can change your life, and you can know your strengths and weaknesses because we most people believe they resonate with their sun sign. They
mhm,
don't quite know why it works and why it's accurate, and then when they get into, wait, we're not just the sun sign, that's just our main identity, we're the moon too. The moon is your emotional nature, so the moon is even more powerful in your birth chart than the sun sign. And most people know their sun sign, but they maybe don't know their moon sign.
That's the first time I've heard that, because now I remember I do have that
Yes.
birth chart from you. When we get off of here, I'm going to be going through it because I keep forgetting about it. I have it saved, and I'll look at it and I'll go, I got to save that for when I got a little bit of time to go through it, because
Yeah.
that's the first time I've heard that about
Yes.
how important your moon sign is.
It's very important. And what house the planets are in your birth chart, we call it a natal chart, is so important. And so that's why, I dedicated, my life researching the 8th and 12th, and why I'll explain why I call 8th house people phoenixes and 12th house people angels. So the 8th house, I have a lot of planets there. And through my research, there's a few patterns that I've seen. Number one, I just had it confirmed today because I did another show earlier today with somebody. and they happen to be an 8th houser. And I'm like, and I didn't know anything about them until we started talking. I'm like, they said, oh, I've had my chart, but I don't understand it. I said, well, let me see it. They pull it up. They're an 8th houser and they're a Phoenix. And I'm like, that's why. And so I asked, have you ever had anybody, have you lost a loved one at a young age? Because most 8th house people are very connected to death, because they lose someone close to them at a young age. And so dying, grief, seeing how death affects people was a very traumatic thing for them. And so I lost a friend in high school from an accidental gun shooting. Okay.
Sorry.
And so there's these intense experiences that happen when you have planets in the 8th house. Okay. It's the house of rebirth, death, resurrection, transformation, trauma, resiliency, and also healing. But it's intensity, it's secrets, it's all these things. And it's just very powerful. And my dog's barking.
Rosie.
Yeah, there she goes. There she goes. I think my husband's home.
That's okay.
But anyway, so these energies, when I started researching, I met people from all over the world. My first article I wrote back in 2000, I think it was like 2001 or something, was The Mysteries of the 8th Astrological House, Phoenix Rising. So it started with an article. And I would write articles and put them out. I had a little website at the time, it's before Facebook or any of this stuff. And people would email me and share their life story. They're like, it's like you were talking about my life. How did you know?
I get that all the time, just in person. Like, I think my record, not that I was keeping count, I think 8 people in about an hour and a half to hour window. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would be in a store, a public place. People come up and share with me that someone they love died. Like there was always something about connected to death and spirits and the other side, and in questioning, why am I here? I'm a soul. I'm not a body. Like I always kind of knew it, but no one taught me this stuff, right? And that's because I have 8th house planets and 12th house. And because 8th house people are born with this awareness of the taboo, dark side of life. The things nobody wants to talk about, we notice it. Like when there's a secret, when someone's hiding something, we feel it. We're very sensitive to energy. So I started researching this and I realized, wait a minute, I'm not alone. This is because I have planets in the 8th house. It's the 8th house Phoenix. So Phoenixes, the energy is 8th house people feel throughout their life like that when they wake up, it's like they've died and been reborn emotionally, physically, mentally, everything. They don't even feel like the same person anymore. They go through these rebirths. It's very hard to put into words that clients have shared with me. And they have these mystical experiences they can't explain. Some of them dream about a deceased loved one. Or they wake up.
You got me mostly in the 8th house, didn't you? I'm positive you did. Was it?
I think you're an 8th house, or you got
positive,
some Scorpio. Yeah. You got some Scorpio. You're a Phoenix. You're a Phoenix for sure. And so it's like this depth, this deep mystical energy, and it's kind of like no one can ever be as deep as you. It's kind of like you feel lonely, because most people are very surface. So you're always seeking that deeper connection. So that's why the 8th house also rules sexuality and intimacy, deep spiritual connections, right? That we seek. We seek that. The problem is it's hard for most human beings to be on that level that we are. So sometimes we feel lonely because we feel like we're not normal. Like
in a house full of people. I can't tell you how many times I have said, you just don't get how lonely it can feel being in a house full of people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's, and I always, like, I remember waking up one day and I wanted to get rid of all my stuff. Like I wanted all my clothes gone. And when I was in college, I came and let all the girls take my clothes, just take them. Like it's like I just was done. Like it was like this heaviness that I wanted to get rid of material things.
Mm-hmm.
This is the energy of the 8th house, purging, getting rid of material things, changing, allowing change and rebirth into your life. And so you go through these hard times when you have planets in the 8th house. That's why there's loss. Like Sandra said, I knew it as a young child when a neighbor girl passed away. Yeah. There's a connection that people have. You probably got something in the 8th house, Sandra. I'll have to look at your chart, but or Scorpio.
I was thinking most of the people probably in the paranormal world that would be here
yes.
probably have some 8th house. We've got a few people. I'm gonna I'm gonna say that Carmen's got to be out of here at 6:30 her time, which is 7:30 our time. So
about an hour. Yeah, about an hour.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking. We've got Amanda and stuff. If we have time, because I want Carmen to get to her book and stuff. And don't worry, Amanda, because you can go to her website. I'll make sure I'm going to hang out with you guys for the full end of this, so we can go through a lot of this stuff. Now, I may not be able to give Bryce the answer or Christopher, but I wanted to get to her book and why she's written a few books on the 8th and the 12th houses. And I think we'll find this fascinating because I feel a lot of people in the paranormal world kind of fall into these two houses, right?
Yes. I mean, when I hear someone has a show like you have, someone is doing spiritual work, almost always they have something in the 8th and 12th house. And it's all the time. I mean, I'm on podcasts all the time and they don't know astrology. And I start looking at their chart. And I'm like, oh my gosh. They're like, no, I didn't even know what this was. This is me. Right. And so I'm connecting with all these people that are 8th and 12th housers, and they're doing what we're doing right now. Right. Mm-hmm. And I love it. And that's a science because it's consistently validated. I was just on a show last week and pulled his chart up, and he was an 8th house moon, sun in the 12th, just like me, right? And I'm like, you're like my twin, and this is why you're into the aliens and all these conspiracy theories, right? And all this stuff. So I've always been very imaginative and very into these things. And the thing with the 12,
we do have one question for you from Shannon. She says, this sounds, and I think it's a good question. This sounds like I may be a phoenix, but as Sagittarius, I hate change unless I'm in charge of it. Can this happen?
Well, yes, because the energy of the 8th house, it doesn't matter what we do. We are forced to change because
I never liked it. Now I love change and I'm open to it and I welcome it.
Yeah, because as humans, we like a comfortable, stable, practical energy. That makes us feel safe. 8th house people have a lot of loss in their life. They can be betrayed. They draw people with problems, and they are drawn to psychology. Yeah, they're drawn to counseling. They're drawn to psychic work, healing work, Reiki masters. They're natural healers. They're very sensitive energy. So, but their life goes through change. That's why I call them the 8th house is the most resilient house in astrology, because having planets there makes you strong. Because if you never suffered or had lost something, you wouldn't know you wouldn't ever grow. Mm-hmm. So they go through lots of these transformations and losses, and they heal and they become stronger. And that's why I call them the phoenix, because they rise from the ashes a stronger person. They're different. They look different. They feel different. And it kind of means, yes, does that mean I favor? Yeah, if someone has Scorpio.
Asked a few questions because he said, if my birthday, because he wanted to know if he was a cusper. He said, if my birthday is on August 21st, does that make me a cusper of Libra and Scorpio? So going down to that, he says, does that mean I favor Scorpio?
You do, because the sun is moving into the Scorpio constellation in the sky. So the energy's moving toward Scorpio. You're going to probably resonate more as a Scorpio, which is an 8th houser, which is a phoenix. Okay. And Scorpios are all these 8th house things I'm talking about is Scorpio people. And that's why I say, if you have Scorpio, Pisces, or planets, sun, moon, or 3 or more planets in these houses, that makes that house strong. It makes that house energy very strong, because I believe that kind of takes over, because the house is the area of life where all this energy is going to manifest. Mm-hmm. And so 8th house people, they have hard experiences. Okay. They lose loved ones. They go through crisis. They're good in a crisis. They're good at crisis intervention. They're like the one that's like, okay, we got to do this and that. A lot of them go into detective work, police officers, FBI agents, psychologists. EMTs. I mean, a lot of people
Nurses.
with the eighth house go into these career fields, nursing, ER nurses, ER
When
doctors.
I worked in the NICU, people would say to me, and all hell would be breaking loose. People would be running. There was about triplets in the back, and there were 28, like just crazy. And all of a sudden, I would get super, not that I'm a hyper person, anyways, super zen and super calm. And my voice would even just lower, that knowing it would energize. And I didn't
Yeah.
know any of this stuff. People would say to me, how can you be so calm? And I'd say, I don't know, but I just am.
Yeah, we eighth housers are best in a crisis. And
Mhm.
I've always done crisis intervention. I've always like am
Mhm.
able to kind of even in my personal life, I've had a lot of things happen where I had to be the one to step in and take care of something. And it
Yeah.
wasn't easy. And there's trauma that comes with that because you have secondary trauma from having to be the leader in these crisis situations because it affects you too in a different way. It's kind of like we are meant to step in because a lot of people freeze, the
Mhm.
flight, was it fight, flight response, the fight or flight.
Yeah.
Some people really get involved, some people freeze, some people run, the
Mhm.
fight, flight, freeze. And that's how we all respond to crisis or trauma or change.
Mhm.
It takes a while for some people, but eighth house people, the thing about them is they always tell me they have these similar experiences. Number one, they lose loved ones, sometimes lose a parent at a young age. Very, very intense experiences. Some of them have trauma, abuse, domestic violence, sexual abuse in their life. There's a lot of these things that happen to them. And
Mhm.
these things happen to make them healers because they end up helping other people
Yeah.
because they know what it's like. And I don't want to say it's a dark house, but it is more of a heavy
It
house.
is a dark thing though, looking at
Yeah.
the topic. Hi, Marcy Knox. We got, she said Sun, Moon, Mars, eighth.
You're of
Yeah.
eighth house Phoenix, eighth house Phoenix.
You know what I want to ask you before we get a little bit deeper, because you talked about this on one of the first shows you were
Yeah.
on, and I forget the reason why. You were so drawn, you touched on a little bit to the eighth and the 12th houses, and then the fourth, you said as well. But you've
Yeah.
done at least two books on this since I've known you. But
Yeah.
why were you drawn to it?
Well, because I had planets in these houses.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah. I don't have any planets in the fourth house. Now,
No, but I
the
remember the first show, if
yeah.
I'm not correct, if I remember correctly, you said, and you were somewhat interested in the fourth house as well. Not so much as the eighth and 12th. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think
Yeah.
that I remember
Yeah,
that.
the in astrology, we call it the water houses. So
Mhm.
there's 12 signs, there's 12 houses. Each sign rules a house in astrology. And so there's 3 water signs, 3 earth signs, 3 air signs, 3 fire signs, right?
Mhm.
And so the fourth house is ruled by the sign Cancer, which is a water sign, and then the eighth house is ruled by Scorpio, which is a water sign, and the 12th house is ruled by Pisces, which is a water sign.
All water signs.
So
Okay.
water is known to be intuitive, psychic, perceptive. But out of those 3 water houses, my research has shown that more people that have 12th and 8th house have very similar experiences.
Okay.
This is just in my research. Fourth house
I
is
have
good.
to agree.
Yeah, fourth house is important. I mean, it's spiritual too, but it doesn't manifest in the same way that 8th and 12th house spiritual gifts manifest. It's
Okay.
different. It's a
Mhm.
different energy. It's more of an intuition, but they're more homebodies. They're more private. They're more
Mhm.
service to others in a practical way. But they're very intuitive people too because it's Cancer, right? Cancer is ruled by the moon, so very
Mhm.
connected to the moon and nurturing people, taking care of people. That is a fourth house thing, and the home and family is a fourth house area. So
Okay.
eighth and 12th is different.
Right.
Death, sex, rebirth, transformation, healing. And that's eighth house. And then 12th house is cosmic
Angels.
consciousness, oneness with God, escapism, dreams, psychic abilities, addiction, all of these very mystical Pisces creativity, being able to connect with people. But they also, 12th house people lack boundaries between themselves and others, where 8th house people are Scorpio energy. So they have a big boundary and
I
they
have
don't
no that's my lesson for this life is boundaries.
boundaries.
I have
But
boundaries, but
You got Pisces, don't you? I remember you
I,
have
I have to
Pisces.
double check my chart
I'm
because some
pretty
of the things
sure.
you're saying definitely resonate too.
I think
Mhm.
you had a Pisces moon. I can't
Mhm.
remember. I know you have something in Pisces, so that's 12th house.
Mm-hmm.
because Scorpios are known to be able to cut people off very easily.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that Sandra said she's Pisces rising. So Pisces rising, Sandra, would make you and give you angel energy, because 12th house people I call angels, because this is why. When you have a lot of Pisces or Pisces rising, or any sun, moon, more than 3 planets in the 12th house, you're going to be what I call a fallen angel. And I have a book called The Mysteries of the 12th Astrology House Fallen Angels that came out last summer. And this is like part 2 that kind of
That's why I had you on, because
Yes.
remember I said to you, I
Yes.
wanted to know, what the heck does fallen
Yes.
angels have to do with astrology? And that's why
Yes.
I had you on.
Yes.
That's
Because
not what we think, is it?
no, because, well, 12th house people, one of the patterns, I've researched 5 patterns, like I said, for 30 years. And I'll take 50 random charts of 50 people that I don't know. And they'll say they have the sun in the 12th house, the moon, or a stellium of 3 or more planets, or a lot of Pisces rising, for instance, that makes you very Piscean, and Neptune, very strong in the chart, whatever. And I'll look at it, and specifically sun, moon in the 12th, those 2, and then 3 or more of any of the planets in the 12th. And I looked at this 50 random charts. 49 of 50 fit all of these 5 patterns.
Wow.
And I've done research, like scientific research on these houses. So what the number 1 pattern is this: absent or missing father figure or mother figure, a parent, feeling like you're missing a parent. It does not mean that they're dead or that they're not in the home. They could be parental divorce, separation, or you just felt like you didn't have a connection with one of your parents. This is a 12th house thing, okay? The reason that happens, it doesn't matter if you have the best parents in the world. You feel as a child that you're different. You feel like you're adopted.
Mm-hmm.
The second pattern is this: feeling like you're an alien, feeling like you're not from Earth. This is why I call them angels, because it's like they're very different than everyone around them and their family, because they're very sensitive. They're very kind. They're very, very empathic. They lack boundaries. They feel everybody's pain. So I say it's like 12th house people have 1 foot in the mystical spiritual world and 1 foot in the reality. And it's very painful to be in the material world when you're an angel. So think of it like this: that movie City of Angels with Nicolas Cage.
I remember that. Yeah.
This is how I explain it. He was, his little trench coat. He was like, peaceful, an angel, observing everybody. He wanted to become human because he fell in love with, Meg Ryan, the doctor, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to him when he became human? He lost everything.
He lost everything, yeah.
He had pain for the first time. She got killed. He lost her. He had heartbreak. All of that symbolism in that movie is 12th house energy.
Wow.
He fell. Remember when he fell? He fell to earth to become an angel. To become human from an angel. That is how 12th house people are. They chose to come here to help others, but it's like we forget that our soul chose to come here. And so when they feel lonely, they feel like they want to escape from the real world, because the real world is harsh.
It is.
It hurts. And I remember have a lot of 12th house, and I never felt like I was in my body. I remember I used to feel like I was floating. Like when I would walk, I wasn't on the earth. And people would tell me, you need to be in your body. You're not in your body. Like psychics would tell me this. I'm like, I don't want to be in my body. They're like, you're up here. I'm like, yeah, I wasn't, my chakras weren't balanced because I was detaching from my body. That's what 12th house people do. They detach. They escape into the meditation, peace, harmony. 12th house people have to have solitude. They have to have alone time. So I talk about in my book, Feast of Angels, how important peace, harmony, alone time is to 12th house people. They have to have alone time to recover their energy so they can go back out and help people. The 8th house is a different energy, but similar. They both rule secrets, but 8th house are secrets that we know because we see them. Because 8th house makes people see through bullshit. Let me just say that. We see through what's hidden, and we know when someone's lying. That's Scorpio. Scorpios, you can't lie to them. They know. Now, 12th house is different. We get fooled because we're imaginative and we're idealistic. and we believe that everyone's good and everyone is like us, and then we
That's
get
a
hurt.
lot of me. I found my birth chart that you did and my write up. So if that's something you want me to send you, I have no problem. We pulled it up the last time if you need it for an
Cool.
example, but let's keep talking. But if you
Cool.
want me to, I will, because I
Cool.
think I have a lot of energy in both of these houses. Holy cow.
Yes, it's
Mhm.
amazing to me when I, look at people's charts that are doing podcasts and doing all this stuff. They do. There's something in Scorpio,
Mhm.
Pisces, 8th house or 12th house every time. And it's amazing. It could be a node. It could just be you're a South Node Pisces, North Node Virgo. That makes you've been an angel, or you're South Node Scorpio and you've been a Phoenix. I mean, there's a lot of different things I can look at in a chart to know, but um,
You
everyone,
knew that I had the wrong birth time. You know what I wanted to throw in there quickly for people
yeah,
listening? You can do, because my friend Debbie, who I know she won't mind me saying her name, she doesn't know her birth time, and you work
yeah,
with her because you have a specific protocol that you utilize.
yeah,
If you don't know, it's better to know your birth time. But
yes,
you picked that up on your own, and you didn't even really know me, and you
yeah,
knew that and it was right. It could have gone either way, 30 minutes from what I gave you
yeah,
as the birth time.
yeah. Your
Mhm.
energy, when you're the best way to, if you don't know your exact time and like your parents are telling you it's between 2 and 4 or
Mhm.
between 3 and 4, if we can nail down your energy of your rising sign,
Yeah.
because like Sandra said, she's Pisces rising. When you know your rising sign, we can get an accurate chart,
Mhm.
because that means we know pretty accurate time, because the rising sign is going to change drastically depending on what time you're born. If you're born in the early morning, you could be
Okay.
a 12th house sun or a first house sun. So the rising sign is going to be the same for everybody born that day, that year. I mean, there's a lot of things going on that we look at, but the time is important, and we call it chart rectification. If you
Okay.
don't know your time, and there's a lot of astrologers out there that are experts in chart rectification. I mean, I can't say I'm an expert in that, but I'm an expert in
I
the
think
8th
they're
and
pretty
12th
good.
houses. I'm an expert in the 8th and 12th houses. But I mean, like I said, the reason I love astrology is I'm still learning.
Mhm.
You can spend your lifetime, many lifetimes, learning this, because there's so much. Oh, Peggy, you're born the same day as me. I'm August
I
26th.
just saw that, Peggy. So we'll have to read, the people that are listening won't
Yeah,
know
we
we're
got the
talking about the
same
comment.
birthday. And get this, my husband's born August 26th too, but he's 5 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
That's
You know
why I met
who
him. That's why I married him, because I went on a blind date only because he was born the same day as me.
I've been listening to? I've gone back through the audiobooks that Dolores Cannon did with Nostradamus, and it's
Yeah,
interesting from what she
I
claims
love
through
them.
the hypnosis sessions what he meant by all of his quatrains, but he pulls so much of astrology
I
into his
know.
predictions and stuff.
He did. I just saw that on the History Channel.
Mhm.
The energy, and he used astrology to diagnose illnesses. And then
It was incredible. If you hear, like, they
I
were
know, right?
using a form of hypnosis as anesthesiology back then, and he goes, none of the
Yes,
other doctors were using it. Like, it's
I
fascinating
know.
if you can get the audiobook to
Yeah,
listen to, because she obviously records and then it's documented what went through the hypnosis session, but she speaks to one of his trainees, and then she's able to connect with Nostradamus, and it's so
yeah,
fascinating because he pulls so much, like you said,
yes.
of
Well,
astrology.
he was a medical doctor, and that's how all of Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine,
Mhm.
said that a doctor that doesn't know astrology is not a doctor but a fool, not a
Mhm.
physician but a fool. So that's because back then they even had a picture. I saw it on the History Channel, and I've seen it in medical books. It's the physical body, and there's the symbol of each sun sign on the area of the body they rule. That's what started
Right.
medicine.
Yeah.
So all of this knowledge was taken out and tried to be hidden from us, because this was how medicine started, was through astrology, connecting the vulnerable areas to the sun signs. Every sign rules an area of the body. That's how medicine was created. I mean, this is like in medical books. This is like
Mhm.
Hippocrates, right? So I just think it's funny that we've gotten so far away from the healing piece of astrology with medical
Mhm.
issues. And that's why when I look at charts, I can see where your medical vulnerabilities are. I can see, because we look at the 6th house, which is the house of health. We look at your sun sign, your moon sign, what planets are in the 6th house. We look at all of that to look at what kind of health things you're vulnerable to. And I'm a Virgo, and my vulnerable area is the stomach and the digestive system. And it is true. My
Oh, we
daughter,
talked about this 2 shows ago when you were on
yeah,
because of the medical, and even I call it my Bible by Ina Segal. When I'm
yeah.
doing my healing work, it's called The Secret Language of Your Body, and it
Oh,
goes through
cool.
every body system
Yeah.
and disease process. And you were saying you might, I just remembered that you
Oh, yeah.
said you might want to look into medical astrology.
Oh, yeah. It's
Mhm,
amazing. You can look up every disease and see what astrological aspects. I mean, it's a whole science. Like you
mhm.
could specialize and study medical astrology your whole life and still be learned. I mean, that's
I
why I love astrology, and because there's so much to it. And I've kind of specialized in psychological astrology, how it affects our personality,
Mhm.
compatibility with others, understanding our strengths, and then the eighth and 12th houses, healing trauma, uh, no finding your spiritual path, accepting your spiritual gifts, which if you have planets in these houses, you're going to have unexplained experiences. You're going to be attracted to things that are mystical. You're going to be interested in ghosts, aliens, all this stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
everyone I meet, I'm sure it has something in Pisces, Scorpio, 8th or 12th house. It's
Mhm.
just it's the energy of how it affects our life. And it's really cool because this weekend I'm really into Edgar Casey. I've studied him a
Yeah.
lot, and a lot of his readings, he talks about astrology. I mean, it's all throughout his readings. And they had a show on the history on ancient aliens was about Edgar Casey this weekend,
Oh,
and
wow.
I watched it, recorded it. And one of the things I always teach in my 8th and 12th house group, I have a class, is that he was an 8th and 12th houser. He was a phoenix and an angel. And they were talking about when he was little, he saw a woman, a glowing white angel possibly approached him. And this
Mhm.
is when he started having his abilities. She told him to sleep on
Ah,
his books, all this. He saw the ghost of his grandfather all of this. He was a Pisces sun in the 8th house.
mhm.
He had a lot of 8th house and a lot of Pisces. This is why he had these abilities that he had to hypnotize, to get deep, to diagnose illness. That's how because you know what? The 12th house rules the levels of consciousness,
Mhm.
sub hypnosis, all these things are 12th house areas. Pisces, he was a Pisces. Guess where it was? In the 8th house. Deep levels. He was able to go deep and give lots of deep information from the
Mhm.
Akashic records, which he's the one that kind of termed, right, the book of life.
Yeah.
So I love him because he's an 8th and 12th houser too. It just verifies my research that these people, right, when you look at their charts, and you can look at celebrities and look
Mhm.
at their charts and see these patterns too. And the biggest thing with the 12th house is that you're meant to be spiritual. You're meant to find a spiritual path. It doesn't mean you have to be religious. Some of
Mhm.
them are. It also is the house of a lot of people. Planets there want to be nuns, priests, rabbis, monks, all kinds of stuff, because they want to be away from the real world, and they
Right.
don't want to be stressed out having to worry about paying bills and working. They want to meditate, they want to read, they're drawn to astrology, they're drawn to healing, they're drawn to crystals, all this stuff. And so they have
I
to
just heard
learn.
from spirit they're drawn to the old ways, the way the world was before. Mhm.
Yes. And that's so true. And they have to learn boundaries between themselves, and they have to balance being spiritual and being practical. That was my greatest challenge when I was young. It took me a lot of years to become more practical. And I got hurt a lot along the way, let me tell you, because I have a lot of 12th house. So I had to really change, being less, I don't want to say less trustful, but I was too trusting. I was too open. I
Mhm.
had to learn boundaries. And that was my greatest lesson. And anybody can tell you that. Like, it doesn't matter who told me what I need to do. I had to experience heartache to learn the lesson. That's 12th house lesson. And that's why, I call them fallen angels. They kind of feel like they're not meant to be, they're not
Mhm.
from here, but they know that they came here for a reason. And a lot of them go into spiritual work in some way, astrology, energy healing, Reiki, teaching. It could be anything, doing a podcast about these mystical things. I mean, there's all kinds of things they're drawn to, but having planets in these houses is important. But let me also say, there's 12 houses in the chart. And
Mhm.
and if you don't have planets in these two houses, it's not a bad thing. I always tell people that, because they always ask me. All it means is, what we want to do is this. We want to see what sign is on the cusp of those two houses.
Okay.
Everyone has a sign on the cusp of each of the 12 houses, and we analyze that, and that will be part of your personality profile.
Okay.
So one thing about the 8th house, I don't get into it a lot because I'm not about fear. I'm about making people be strong and resilient and positive. But there is a dark side to the 8th house.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is there's some research and theories out there that whatever sign is on the 8th house cusp will can show how you might die. I don't get into that a lot, but I know it, and I know what it all means.
Interesting.
And if there's articles out there that you can look up, and I don't talk about it a lot because I don't want people to be afraid.
And people are afraid to die.
Yes. It's a fear, and if you let me give you an example. Like Capricorn on the 8th house. If you have the sign Capricorn on the 8th house, which means you're probably a Gemini rising, okay? Because everyone's Gemini rising is pretty much going to have the same planets on each of the houses, right? I mean, it's going to. So if you have Capricorn there, they're known to live a long, long life and to usually die of natural causes like old age.
That was a good one to pick.
Right? Now, I'm going to be honest. Mine is not good, okay?
I haven't checked mine yet. I always say I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. I know because I know, but I don't want to know.
I got a question for you though.
Yeah.
Okay. As you've known now how many times you've been on and we talked off here. Okay. So say you have something on the cusp that, like you said for yourself, but you really don't want to know. It's not that great. Could we change that? Because I know when we have difficult lives, for example, before our incarnation, there are people, and I believe this, hearing it from spirit and studying near-death experiences for over 40 years, professionally and personally, that sometimes we build in exit points, if you will. So when we've had a near-death experience or an accident, maybe where we should have died or something, and say the NDE, we'll say, and you go back home and you're offered the choice to stay and nobody wants to come back. They tell you when they come back, but then they're shown why they're here and that you maybe didn't really complete what you were meant to do, or for whatever reason, most people choose to come back. So could that happen? Like if you knew, or is it written sort of in stone because it's a science, right?
It is a science. So I believe that when we're meant to go is our time.
I agree.
If we're meant to have a near-death experience, that's because it was before our time. So there's some things that are accidents.
I don't always believe that, because from my research and studies is that it can be an opportunity. Like say we've picked a life that is full of a lot of the let's say 8th house, right? A lot of 12, a lot of loss, a lot of tragedy, really difficult, painful life. But we know that's the biggest opportunity for our souls to grow, right?
Yeah.
So from working with spirit and the research, I don't get me wrong. Sometimes an NDE, you're meant to go and you're going to go. But I've seen people have had 4 NDEs. Now, maybe they've built that in there, and it's not necessarily their time to go, but maybe it's an exit point the first time you have it as a check-in, because I believe this is getting a little bit off topic, but quickly.
No, that's all right. No, this is 8th house. This is 8th house.
Okay, because I believe we have a guidance team up there as we're about to jump into the body and come back down for another incarnation. And they're going, and my other theory is, I think what we are too is older souls that we choose, like exactly what we're talking about right now, because we've had the experience and we've been through a lot. Because I got to tell you, most people, and maybe it has to do with astrology, but I always say most people in this field don't have a Brady Bunch wonderful upbringing and life is roses, and somebody's had all of these things you've talked about and a multitude. So say I don't have all the answers. These are just theories, and I could change my mind. So say they're going to come down here, and of course we all want to do it, right? We're our whole self, we're our soul, and you've got some wise advisors on the other side saying, yes, I can understand your excitement about coming back down here, and you really want to make the most of this opportunity, but you have to live it. So they help you plan it, and you sometimes you have near-death experiences planned in there where you have a check-in. you offered, then you get into walk-ins. I think I talked about this on a podcast yesterday. I
Okay.
wasn't supposed to be on, right? Perfectly good body that might be here, no health problems, but they're desperately needed maybe to help other people achieve their goals and plans and whatever else. So then you get a walk-in. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't have all the answers, but my brain
Well,
thinks this way.
I do believe in angels, and I do believe that
Absolutely.
people are saved from
That can happen. Yeah.
like before they're like, if it's not your time,
Absolutely.
you're not going to be gone. Like
Absolutely.
that's, yeah, like I agree with that. Like, if you're meant to be gone, you'll be gone. I believe if you're coming back and if somebody's having that happen, absolutely, I think they chose that because, I mean, having that many near-death experiences, there's some reason that their soul needed to do that or wanted to do that, right? Probably just maybe they knew they were going to struggle a little bit, and their guide said, we're going to do this to remind you why you went down there in the first place or something, right? And
Most
so,
people come back with gifts that they weren't aware of before.
Yes.
And they come back not afraid to die. Okay,
Yes.
usually.
Yeah.
But I have seen pictures of angels caught on camera
Oh,
there's a gentleman in particular laying there. He was working on his transport truck, and I guess it was in his garage, and he had a pit to work there, and the supports came out, and his security camera caught it. There's two glowing angelic shapes on the other side. He never died. He had a horrible, horrible healing period in a long time, and he'll never be the same and whole.
Oh, yeah.
But he should have died. And you can see these angelic beings almost holding up.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
seen so many videos. And so I agree. We don't have all the answers. I always say we're never going to till we go back home. And I didn't mean to get off track here, but I had to ask you.
No, this is eighth house, like near-death experiences. A lot of people with the eighth house planet, Scorpio, has near-death experiences. I mean, I was looking at Jeremy Renner, the actor.
Jeremy, yeah.
It's just unreal. It was was it an accident? Yeah, he tried to save his nephew, jumped in front of thing, and he's like walking again. He's amazing. But so I think, did he choose that? Maybe. I believe that I believe some things, and this is just from astrology, from what I've seen, some things are meant to happen no matter what we do. It does not matter what we do. We're meant to have it happen, and we have to go through it. Some things can be prevented or lessened. So like when like for instance, like if I catch somebody that has Pluto in the 7th house of the marriage relationship area of life, I catch them at a young age, like before they're a teenager, and say, just be careful the kind of partners and people that you fall in love with and date. There's things that you can do to open up someone's mind to that, right? And that can lessen. Is it going to change the fact that they might get in an abusive relationship, that they might be with someone that's controlling at some time? It may not prevent it completely, because they're going to learn. Yeah, they're going to be aware, and their Pluto wound comes in that house. So wherever Pluto is, that's where we have a wound. We have to go through something in our younger days, and then we heal it. And it's the same with Chiron, the asteroid. Wherever Chiron is in our chart is where we have a wound that we heal, and we become wounded healers. So if it's in the 8th house, 12th house, 1st house, wherever it is, that's where we have some type of a wound. So everyone has things that need to be healed.
That need to be achieved, and part of why you're here, if you will, your roadmap to the soul that you've sort of mapped out. One thing I do want to add quickly, because Spirit keeps nagging at me. I keep thinking I'm going to forget it as I'm listening. They keep reminding me. Now, I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you, looking at near-death experiences professionally and personally for over 40 years, my co-host has had one as an adult.
Nice.
There's a few people in the chat as well. I think I had one as a toddler. But I can tell you that most people that we connect with as mediums on the other side, they leave the body before. So you know how you hear about someone dying really tragically or horrifically? I have yet to run into somebody that remembers that. And Dave and I talk about these kind of things on Thursday nights. So what we feel is, unless you've contracted that you need to experience that, like what that feels like, you're gone before.
That's what I'm thinking.
So it's a really promising thing for people that are afraid, is what I'm saying, to go back home or whatever.
Yeah, your soul leaves quick. I have a story like someone in my family, I won't say who it is, but someone in my family was having a gallbladder attack and wouldn't go to the hospital. And I was in high school when this happened, and they woke up and were floating on top of their
Out of
body,
body? Yeah, out of
and
body, yeah.
saw themselves in the bed.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden they were back in their body, and it was this excruciating pain.
Oh, I
But
know.
that got them to the hospital and had emergency surgery, and they lived, and they're okay today. They're still around. So,
Mhm.
but they left their body, because when the body has that kind of a physical thing, we leave it. I mean, we're not feeling it.
That's
We're
how we
not.
get multiple
True.
personality disorder, right? Like things like that when
Yeah.
the brain can fragment, compartmentalize.
Yeah.
And exactly, I'm so glad you shared that, because now that you had mentioned that, right, there's going to be somebody out there probably will write you, well, how am I going to die? Right? They will. But that's why I
Yeah.
put it out there, because that frightens a lot of people. And I think that
Yeah.
that's why they're afraid of death, because you don't know what to expect, or is it going to be so
Yeah.
painful? You've watched a loved one or something. So the physical body may experience it for those people listening,
Yeah.
but as I understand it, the part that you would remember or actually feel, you've already left. So
Yes.
I think it's a
And
good thing to know.
my daughter's, we talked about this. She has a lot of eighth house too, and just it's crazy. But we were just talking today about, she's like, I need to know, do you want to be cremated or buried? Like, what do you and dad want to do? And I'm like, we talked about this just today for like an hour. And I'm like, I don't really want to talk about this. Like, I don't know. Like, she's like, you need to figure it out. Do you have a will? So
We
like,
talked about that because we lost a family
yeah.
member diagnosed with stage 4 cancer 2 weeks
Oh, so
ago,
sorry.
bone and
Oh,
lung. But you know what? And I don't say this with any disrespect. I know as a nurse what
yeah.
people go through when they're dealing
Yeah.
with this. And I can tell you, so it wasn't long and they
Yeah.
were gone. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can tell you,
Quality of life. Quality of life is important. And you
mhm,
don't want to be in pain. It's not, it breaks your heart to have your loved ones in pain.
mhm.
And
So it was quick. But what I was going to say is my partner and I talked about this. I know his wishes and he knows mine.
yeah.
But this person passed without a will and everything else. So you know what we actually did? I swear to God. We videotaped each other and put our wishes on video and dated it and said, we didn't make a will,
Yeah. No, but
but
you
we know
should.
what we wanted done. I don't want people to spend $10,000 or $50,000 on a funeral. You know what?
No.
Cremate me, don't bury
Right.
me, don't spend money, and just go have a party. So that's what
I
we
know.
put down.
Like
Mhm.
what they call celebration of life
Thank you. Yeah,
ceremony
I was just
instead of
thinking
a
celebration.
funeral.
Mhm,
And like, and I get that. Like, it's so interesting, to talk about this. This is eighth house, talking about death, because the
mhm,
first person I ever knew that died was my friend, and I could not go up to the casket. I could not go up there. And I was
mhm,
just bawling and crying. I was just a mess. And I
mhm.
never could physically, mentally, emotionally go up and see. I had never seen a dead body.
So
I'll be
that
honest.
scarred you.
Oh yeah. And
Mhm,
and after that, when I lost some other people, it was very hard for me to go up and look. But in the Midwest where I'm from, most people have an open casket funeral.
mhm,
Like, I had never been to a funeral where someone was cremated until my husband's friend's wife passed away. This was back in 2012,
mhm.
and it was kind of like it wasn't real. Like, she
Yeah,
really wasn't gone. And there was
mhm,
just a picture, and then the urn, and it was like, it was so different than seeing the body, and watching the body be buried, and going to the cemetery, and all these things that I did with my grandmother.
mhm.
So both my grandmothers came to me before they died in my dream.
Okay.
So I knew they were going to go.
Mhm.
And so it kind of made me the one that I don't want to say I wasn't grieving. I was strong for everyone
Because you
else.
knew, you knew. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was so close with my grandmother, and I spoke at the funeral, and I didn't think I was going to get through it. I mean, because she was like my best friend.
Oh,
But
sorry.
it was just so intense, and so talking to my daughter today, I'm like, I don't want, she's worried about having to take care of this because she's an only child. She goes, I don't have a brother or sister. She says, I'm the one that's going to have to deal with this. And she started talking to me about this today. I'm like,
You've raised a wise soul there.
this
Mhm,
is like an eighth house conversation. This is what we do. We talk about this stuff, and
mhm,
most people would never even want to talk about it because it's so taboo. But
mhm,
eighth house people, we talk about this stuff. I mean, it's what we're supposed to do, because we know we're not a body. And that's why I told her, I know she goes, you're not in there, mom. I go, I know, it's just a body. It's your soul's not here. You go
mhm.
on. And so she goes, so what's it really matter? Why do you have to be buried? why can't you just get cremated? I said, that's a good point. I don't really know what I want to do yet. I'm kind of back and forth, you know.
I
So
just want
anyway,
the cheapest option, but I know a
yeah.
burial is going to cost a lot of money because I don't
Oh,
want,
oh
and
yeah.
please don't think anybody listening to this that I'm
Yeah.
frowning on what your choices are. You can do whatever you like. I just know for
Sure.
myself, you know what? I don't want that. And if it happens, it
Yeah.
happens. I don't need my body anymore once I'm back home. You're going
No.
to do whatever you're going to do. But
Yeah.
if it makes somebody else's decision easier, I felt, or the
Yeah.
sometimes family fights about these things, right?
I know.
So I
I
thought it would
know.
just be easier. Let's just film each other. It was a quick 2-minute video.
Good for you.
Save
Good.
it's there. He knows where mine is. I know where his is.
No, that's
And then there's
smart.
no argument. There's his wishes. There's my wishes right here on video.
It's
Mhm.
very, very smart. And
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's like my mother-in-law, you know, bless her, she's been saving up money. She has her plot already picked, her
Mhm.
tombstone paid
Yeah,
for,
I know
her
people
whole
did that.
funeral's
Yeah.
already saved for, and she's already planned the whole thing. And she's very Catholic, very devout, and she
Mhm.
wants a, you know, a full burial and all that. And you know, and that's her wishes. And she, you
But
know, and my
that's
mom,
what feels
yeah,
complete to her and what her
yeah.
belief system, and nothing wrong with that at all
That's
either,
right.
right?
That's right. And then my parents have already told me kind of what they want, and they don't want to spend it, but you know, everyone has their own. And you know, I think you change about this, you know, as you get older. Because you know,
Mhm.
when I was younger, I didn't. You don't really think about this stuff, and then you get older,
I
and like,
think
wait a
I
minute.
always did though, because
Yeah.
being a nurse, and I have had a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
loss. Like my
Yeah.
grandfather, my dad's side died when I was 12 and a half, I
Yeah.
think, to the day. And then my mom's youngest brother, or second youngest, passed
Yeah.
away not even 6 months later of testicular cancer. And he was like my big brother. Like all this
Uh,
loss you're talking about, I was so
yeah.
close to my
Now,
grandfather.
were
Mhm.
they all see for me, there was always a normal burial. I never had been to a cremation. So I always thought I'm just going to be buried. You know, I never knew there was a different thing to do.
Mhm.
I just thought this is what happens when you die, and you have,
Yeah.
there's a casket and there's a body and you're buried. I didn't know till I was older that you didn't have to do that. I mean, you know, because it's like what you're raised traditionally. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone in my family on both sides has always had a full burial.
Mhm.
Like we've never
And there's
had.
nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
but for
Yeah.
me, I just didn't want anybody to, like what we did for the relative, like he didn't have a will or anything,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
my partner, we have the same aunt and uncle through marriage. We're not related
Okay.
by blood, so some of his family was actually at my first wedding. So,
Okay.
I knew a lot of the family there, and we got
Sure.
together at somebody's house, and we celebrated his life, and we ate,
Yeah.
and scattered his ashes
Yeah.
afterwards. And it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I think you have to do what's right for your belief system and for
Yes.
what feels right to you as a family. That's why I said your daughter's a wise soul,
Oh yeah.
because that's a
Yeah.
big responsibility on her, right? Like she says she doesn't have somebody else to lean on to make those decisions.
And she's got Pluto in the eighth house, and she's a South Node Scorpio, so she's
Mhm.
already been an eighth houser, right? A Phoenix. But she said, "What are we going to do with all this stuff?" She said, "You guys have all this stuff. I don't want to have to deal with all this stuff. Can we start put?" She goes, "Can we put stuff in storage? Can we get rid of stuff?" She's like, "I said, if something happens to us, you're going to have to go through this stuff. I mean, it's yours now. I mean," she goes,
Yeah.
"Well, I don't want to have to deal with that."
Well, it's pretty practical too.
I said, listen, I mean, she's a Virgo sun, Capricorn moon, and a Taurus rising. So she's all earth.
Mhm.
And, but anyway, I said, yeah, I said, let me see if I can get your dad to do a storage unit. Cause I need to get rid of stuff. Like I just have moved so much, and it's, you accumulate things. I'm ready just to get rid of stuff. I need to have a yard sale or something. But anyway, that's purging. That's part of the eighth house, is getting rid of material things,
Mhm.
and it makes you lighter. It's like a lighter, you feel lighter. You feel like it's like
For
a haircut.
anyone.
Yeah, like sometimes you just need a haircut,
Mhm.
and then you feel better. Are
Or a
there
hair
any?
color change or
Yeah, right, right. It just makes you feel like you're reborn, like you're a new person, right? Yeah,
Mhm. We have a question for you because we're not talking directly about your book, but we kind of are in the way
sure,
of, because I do want to give you a little bit of time still because we got a few minutes still left before you have to pop out.
sure, sure.
Um, but let's say I just wanted to ask this question. I'm hanging out with you guys till the end, so we can go through a
Yeah,
few other questions that are here. But she's asking, is there any books to learn
I'm sorry.
about birth charts, or what would you suggest? Because you probably have one. I know
I
on your
do.
YouTube channel and everything else.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would love. I think if you're just very beginner basic, and you don't really know a lot yet, You can go to Amazon.com. I would recommend getting my sun signs, houses, and healing book. And I have a moon signs, houses, and healing book. And they are the whole introduction is the basics of what the symbols are, the analysis, the planets, the signs, all of it. And then each chapter is dedicated to a sun sign. That's a good start. And then there's like Astrology 101 books out there as well that you can get. But my books are real basic. And they're very practical and easy to read. So you could start with my sun signs book or moon signs, but you can go on Amazon or you can contact me. I can send you a signed author copy if you want to purchase one through me. So I'm happy to send you. I have some copies of both too. So
plus I'm going to give her a minute right when she does sign off, but she, like, if you weren't here, Carmen has a free birth chart that she does, and it's not a 1-page birth chart, folks. Like, it is incredible. Yeah. I think Zach got one the last time you were here. I think Sandra might have. I'm trying to think who else. There was a few others that did. A few of my friends, like, people are going, what like what's I had so many people messaging me with the replay. Like, what's your website again? And so let's talk about your book quickly, because you said this is the second part to the first, 8th, and 12th house. I always get that title mixed up with the Fallen Angel one, right?
Yes, there's I have, so we'll just talk about I self-published a book in 2010 called The Mysteries of the 8th Astrological House, Phoenix Rising. It's based on my research. It's out on Amazon, self-published it. I couldn't get a publisher for that book. And then I did the Mysteries of the 12th Astrological House, Fallen Angels, and I got a publisher for that last year, and it's out. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to put both of these houses together. And that's where this came from. And I expanded on those 2 books. So it's not all the same thing in here, but it's more in depth, more tips, more of a practical, like, hey, you can do this to self-care. These are breathing exercises. These are things that you can do. And so I have 4 books out there all about these houses.
There you go, folks. You go. And I'm telling you, you've got a YouTube channel. You've been going on
follow
Instagram
me
a bit more too.
Subscribe. Right? Yeah. Carmen Turner-Schott is my YouTube channel. I'm trying to post more videos. I haven't been doing enough videos. I'm going to get at it. I'm going to start doing more videos. But
you've been so busy. You put all these books out, and then, like I said, I'm seeing, like, I wouldn't see you post that often, but now all of a sudden it seems every time I open Facebook, so you're doing something right, because it keeps coming up in my feed about your
marketing
books and all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to market, the books, and it's just a full-time job, trying to get the books out there and everything. And then I work a normal job so this is like my side thing. So I've been very busy with life, and then, my own stuff, my own family. So it's been a busy time, but things keep coming, and I've been teaching classes, and I'm just keeping it up. And I have another book coming out next year.
I'm excited to ask you.
I have another book coming out with an astrologer friend of mine named Bernie Ashman. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be about the nodes of the moon. Astrology is magical nodes. It's going to be about your soul mission and your past lives, the whole book. So it's coming out next year with John Hunt, same publisher, Phoenixes and Angels. This is my favorite book. I did go on Coast to Coast, talked about this book. It was awesome. And that was tough. That was like 2 to 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. And so I was up all night.
I would have been fine. I only go in a couple hours sleep every day. So I'm up all night.
I was feeling it the next day after about 3 days.
You had to get up to go to work. Like, my job is at home. So
I took some leave the next day, but still, it's crazy. But I'm on Facebook, Deep Soul Divers Astrology, and Carmen Turner-Schott, author. Instagram, Carmen Turner-Schott, author.
Are you planning on teaching? I'm going to ask you, because I know I'm going to get people messaging me. Are you going to be teaching any courses? Because people will want, you know what, you guys, I've never met a better teacher. Like I said, I never really got astrology. I've had you on here. I'm not kidding. I talk about you all the time, like, obviously, but off air, anybody, as soon as astrology comes up, oh, you've got to check out my friend Carmen now. Like I said, I've got to know her from coming on the show.
Thank you. You're so sweet. Yeah. I have a class. Some people, I just offered an 8th and 12th house class, which I do offer. If I have enough people interested, I'll do it again. But I have a class scheduled for October, Astrology, a Map of the Soul. And it's for beginners, 101 astrology course. And it's going to be, I believe it's just one whole day. Like 12 to 6 on a Sunday.
Mhm.
And I have a flyer. I've marketed a little bit on social media, but I'll start marketing it more. But if people want to register, they can email me and I'll put
Will
you
you
on
do
the
it
list.
online? Will you do it online?
It's going to be on Zoom. Yeah,
Oh, great, great.
it'll
Mhm.
be an all-day class on Zoom. I'll have slides. Everyone will get a free book, handout, stuff like that. And it'll be a basic astrology class to learn about the signs, the planets, the houses, all of it, how you
I
put it
think
all
I need
together.
to take that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as long as if I get 10 people or more, I'll do the class. I like to get at least 10 students.
Well, you're welcome to post it in the
Yeah.
Angel Rocker tribe. We've got
Oh,
almost
thank you.
1,000 people there, and I know we've
Cool.
got well over 1,000 in Paranormal University. So there's 2,000 people right there.
Wow. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll send you the flyer. I'll send it to you. And
Awesome.
I have it
Well, I'm
made
gonna
and
be
everything.
talking to you before then. I know I am.
Oh, that's nice.
So here's a compliment
Yeah.
for you. Carmen is the only one who actually read me correctly with just a few things she said. No one came this close to reading me. So I want to know what Carmen can do. LOL. And
Cool.
Marcy Knox said, I'm signing up for that one. She said she
Yes.
did your last
Oh,
one
yes. Thank
too.
you. Hi, Marcy.
Mhm.
Yes. She's in my 8th and 12th house class. Thank you. It was so much
Awesome.
fun. So much fun.
Well, I'm not kicking you out of here, but I know you got to go.
Yeah,
So you need to
I gotta
go.
go
And
soon, but it's so great to be on here. And if anyone has, if they want to put something in the chat real quick, I'll stay for a minute. But yeah, if you can grab your copy on Amazon.com and Barnes and Noble. There's Kindle, there's the paperback. Some people like Kindle. It's easier, because you can have it with you. But this is everything you need to know about understanding these two houses. And then of course, you can get your own birth chart and calculate that. And you can either, sign up for my newsletter through my website, and then I'll send you your birth chart and wheel. And I can tell you if you have planets in these houses too when you email me.
well, I told
So,
Carmen, I'm so busy. I have it. I just found it because the last time you were on, I didn't have a problem if you put my chart up there or let people see. There was
yeah,
a few people that were kind of coming from a
sure.
nice place of concern, but they were coming from a fear base that I shouldn't be putting this information up there. I said, well, it's not like people
Oh,
can't find it. Like it's not
well,
like it's hidden or buried.
You can Google anyone, their address and their birth information comes up now. I mean, it's kind of scary, but it's true. But email me, Amanda, if you want,
Okay.
go to my website, carmenturnerschott.com, and a pop-up will come up, and it will you can put your Bryce's information in. I need to know what city, state, country he's born as well, and his time, place, date, year, and I can email a chart so you can see Bryce's chart.
Okay.
And thank you, Marcy. I'm glad you
And
liked it.
anybody else that's here, like anybody, like I said, if you go
Yeah,
to comments, it comes
yeah,
up as a pop-up right away. At least it did on my does on my phone. I'm sure
it
it
does.
does
Yeah,
on the website. Anything else? She has one question for you. Um, Question for Carmen: are consultations free or do you require payment?
yeah. I do charge.
Mhm,
I don't do a lot of charts. I'll be honest, because I have to spread them out. I have a wait list right now because I
mhm,
only do them on the weekend, and I
mhm,
only do one or two a weekend. I don't. I try to, it has to do with my energy. I got to be in the right energy to do the
mhm.
consults because they're deep, and we're talking on Zoom. We're live, with you, and I'm recording. So I do, Akashic records as well. So I'm booked out till October, but I have Saturday, Sundays, some Fridays when I'm off work. I will book a chart. So I kind of spread them out so I don't get burned out. I'm trying to, because I'm doing two jobs. So but
Mhm.
yes, you can look on my website under consultations. It'll show, what all I offer and what's included
Mhm.
and everything.
No,
But
I have a new calendar, Finally Book podcast. You got to use it this time. I
yeah,
finally, I
yeah,
don't know why I didn't think of that before.
that was, I didn't know either till somebody told me, and I'm like, oh, cool.
Well,
Yeah,
you're going to come back. I know I'm going to have her back on, you guys. I don't write audience favorite on my write-ups, and I know you are because it's
thank
kind of
you.
like when I used to have my co-host David on.
Yeah,
David Hansel, I would get so many comments privately, afterwards,
nice.
publicly. So it's the same with you. People love you when you come on here. And I'm so glad you came on
Thank you.
here. And I know you're going to do well with
I
this
love it.
book. I think I'm going
Thank
to take your
you.
course in October. I
Would
think I
love that. I'll send you the course link. I'll also be posting it on my
am.
Facebook page, Instagram, guys, and it's on my website. If you go to media on carmenturnershot.com, you
Okay.
can scroll down and see all my upcoming events. So I have classes on there, book
Okay.
signings, everything I'm doing. And Phoenixes and angels, guys, spread the word. And if people want to learn more about spiritual abilities, I share a lot of my own experiences in here too. And then I have other books out there as well you can find on Amazon.
Well, I want to thank you for
Thank
being here.
you.
You guys, I'm hanging out still till for
Okay.
another half hour, but you have a good night. And thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. 2 podcasts in a day. Holy cow.
Yeah, I've been doing quite a few. Gavin's taking good care of me, booking me up. So
He's amazing. I
but so
know.
nice to meet you again and see everybody, and talk to you soon.
Okay. We'll
Thank
talk to you
you.
soon. Okay. Thanks
Thank
again,
you.
Carmen.
And happy birthday coming up. Birthday
Oh,
month.
yeah. Happy birthday to you and everybody
Yeah.
in the chat. Like I said, don't go anywhere, people. I'm hanging out with you
Yes.
still.
Okay,
Okay.
bye.
Have a good
See
one,
you.
Carmen. Travel safe. Okay, you guys, isn't she awesome? She's amazing. And I'm sorry, she's got so much information to give y'all. And I didn't know, like, she's so busy. I thought she was going to stay for the full 2 hours. So that's why I didn't ask a lot of questions. But so, Amanda, I don't know if you're still here or not, but if you are, now we got time to look at your picture that you sent me. Guess what happened yesterday, guys? I was a last minute. Robin's not here. Amazing. Sorry, Jennifer Frost, Casista, she says, amazing. Thank you. And Kelly Hopkins says, she's super nice. I felt a good connection with her. Oh my God, you'll love her. She is no different off air as she is on air. She is just so warm and so lovely. And like I told y'all, if you haven't been here when I said this, I've had her on about 4 or 5 times. She's been pumping books out. I'm telling you, amazing content. She's very intuitive. And she did my chart for me. She had asked me before. She used to offer this through her website, just very quickly, like it wasn't an in-depth consultation. And I sent her my birth date, time of birth, and where I was born, etc., like she just asked for. And I never said to her, I wasn't exactly sure right down to the minute of when I was born. And she messaged me back in less than 10 minutes and said, are you sure you couldn't have been born maybe one way 30 minutes or another? I went, holy crap. I don't know why I didn't even think to tell you that, Carmen. I said, yeah, I'm not exactly sure of the exact moment. And she picked that up. So she really is really, really amazing. Hey guys, I wanted to show you, I'm going to show you this. I brought it up. I haven't got it all finished. What do you guys all, some of these might fall out because I haven't got them all glued in. What do you guys think this is? Sorry. It's falling out. What do you guys think this is? A bookshelf? I just made this. I didn't just make it. It took me a while. We still have to put the cat. We've got our little fuzzy Harry Potter monster book. These are all full of potions. Guess what this is? This is it's going to fall out. I started to glue things, but I couldn't get them all glued before. This is a journal. These little drawers actually work. It's got a little treasure chest and stuff. I'm doing a little bit of promo because I'm getting ready to finally get that darn resin store of mine open and Halloween pieces. So I wanted to show you. I won't be doing books like this. If I do, it'll be one of a kind because this is a lot of work, starting with just a hardcover notebook or sketchbook, and then making resin pieces and labels. And these little books are all made here. I don't know if I bring it. I don't want to tip it too much because I tried to glue most of them down. All these little books I handmade and stuff like that. So it's going to be quite cute. It's going to be a one of a kind piece, but I might be selling stuff like that. But I got all kinds of Halloween pieces coming. So I thought I will let you guys know in a spiritual line. It's about darn time I got it out there. Now I'm going to check her. I bet you I think it was Amber that she sent me some kind of picture. I'll have to check and see. Boy, I don't know about you, all of you, but I'm telling you, I am getting more scammers sending me friend requests from people that I already have as a friend. It's crazy. I just seen another one. Okay, give me a sec. So Kelly says, oh my gosh, that is, hang on, I got to highlight it for you, Kelly. That is so adorable. I seen that a couple of weeks ago and it really turned out beautifully, Lorilei. What a beautiful piece. If you do a phoenix and a dragon book, I will buy it. I have so many dragon molds and beautiful pieces. What I did was I mixed a lot of resin. Like this is my little cat I'll be putting in there. The little drawers on there have little skulls on there. I didn't make the snakes. I made the skull. I made a lot of things with this piece, and there's still other pieces to put in there. I'm working on an owl right now and stuff. But I have over 200 molds. So if there's something like, I have Star Wars, I have Sanrio, I have I'm trying to think what else I've got. Pokemon, I've got, you name it, chessboards, anything you can think of. I've got a mold for those. Yes, I know, Christopher. He says those damn copycat profiles. I know, but I've just had so many recently. It's crazy. I'm just looking to see what Amanda sent me. Um, yeah, I'm not quite sure. She'd probably have, oh, that's interesting. I can show you. I can't see a lot of it. I'd have to read what her context of this was, but she sent some stuff. Um, I'm just reading. Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but there's certainly a bright light. I'll save it for Thursday, because hopefully before I show it, I will have to talk to her and find out what the context is. And Kelly says, I need one of those journals from you. Well, they're one of a kind, because where I got the idea, and I never copy, is Facebook. Or not, sorry, not Facebook. My brain is all over the place today. I don't think I'm going to make sure I get off here. I do some grounding, because my brain's going in 20 million different directions, and I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm doing here. It was a Facebook, not, why do I keep saying Facebook? YouTube channel. And it was, she did it kind of like mine, a much smaller book. And she did it Harry Potter themed, whereas I did it more kind of Halloween sort of type of thing. But hey, Jonathan Keyworth, how are you? I was just about to talk about you. I got talking about something else. I was showing these guys my haunted, it's not all glued down yet, but all the pieces are handmade. This is actually a notebook. Oh, sorry, I'm backwards here. So you open it up and you'll be able to use it, but it's all a notebook on the inside. But I was just about, oh, well, thank you. We haven't seen the other one, Kelly, have you? But thank you. So I was on a podcast. I was just about to say this with Jonathan and Robin. He's not here tonight, but he's with Halfern Paranormal and AJ Capasso. He's been on the Angel Rock here before. And I thought Jonathan was speaking. It was right towards the end of the show. I had pulled an angel card for anybody who was listening. And you hear me. Thank you. I was so glad he ended up clipping it. And he sent it to me last night, because I did hear the EVP, but I thought it was Jonathan's voice, because you hear me say, what did you say, Jonathan? And it sounds like the voice said spirit or something. It was really interesting. I don't know what it is with all these EVPs lately, but I think as podcasters, especially with the things we're talking about with the paranormal or angels or spiritual things, I think we get a lot more EVPs than what we realize that we do. I really do. Oh, you think AJ debunked it, do you? Well, I'll have to think. AJ thinks he might have debunked it. Oh, we'll have to see. But that's the beauty in EVPs, right? You have other people look at them, hear them, and see what they hear or what they pick up. And if you can debunk it, I think we have to go in with an open mind, that we're ready to debunk something that we think shouldn't be there, or we shouldn't hear it. Right? I think that we need a healthy dose. I don't want to say skepticism. I think debunking is a better idea. So AJ thinks it was a delay. I don't know. Now I'm going to have to listen to it again. Or what we might do, with your permission, I'd always ask, but maybe I'll play it on Thursday night. We with the thing at the foot of the bed when David's here, and we'll ask people what they hear. That's what we did with the EVP I sent you last night. And for those of you that didn't hear about it, I was producing this awesome new show we have at the network. It's called Spirit Switchboard with Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. And she was doing her 13th show. Her show's on a Friday. And she had Rick McCallum, who is a stunt coordinator. He's an author and he's a paranormal investigator. And because she's new, like I'm producing my own show on the network tonight, I usually do, but she was new and she was still learning. So I was there to produce the show, and she asked me to hang out just in case she had any problems. So I was actually working on some resin pieces. I'd poured some, but I had headphones in, and I was about 4 feet away from the phone, and I hear this noise. And it literally sounded like, little kids when they have the liquid at the bottom of a glass barely left and they've got a straw and they're sucking it up. And I hear this. I'm like, who the heck's making that noise during the show? And I look over Nobody's drinking anything. And I went, holy crap, that's got to be an EVP. So I marked it. Now, the strange thing is, it happens right after Carrie Lynn asks Rick, have you ever had any attachments? And you hear this moan, and then it sounds almost like the sucking up of something through a straw, or I've heard people, some people say even a BONG. I don't use those, but people have said that. And after I've heard those, I went, yeah, it does sound like that. But towards the end of it, it sounds more like a growl. So I think it was a growl. It was pretty crazy. So Jonathan says, oh, thank you. Okay, well, I'll play it Thursday night then. So Jonathan says, Rick is awesome. We had him on. Yes, I know. Robin, one of your co-hosts, said he was a good friend of his. So yeah, it was a great show. He's very entertaining and he's got lots of stories. On that particular episode, it was a couple weeks ago, he was talking about working with Clint Eastwood, and he was the stunt man for Jason Voorhees, Kane Hodder, for most of the Friday the 13th movies. So, and as most of you know, that one week we kept talking about Friday the 13th with Kevin Bacon and his Speedo in the first Friday the 13th movie. That was we really made a big deal out of it on Thursday night. And the show's called The Thing at the End of the Bed. And Sandra, I think it was you, wasn't it you that Nate renamed the show The Thong at the End of the Bed? I think it was you. Oh my God, that went on for weeks. People kept asking about that, going on and on about it, the jokes. It was hilarious. Jonathan, you just missed our guest. We had an amazing guest, Carmen Turner-Schott, Turner-Schott, hyphenated name. She was just on Coast to Coast AM. She's been on my show quite a few times, and she's got a new book out called Phoenixes and Angels, and she's an amazing guest. She's the only lady person, I should say, that I've actually really ever understood more of the depth of astrology versus just say your birth sign, or as she calls it, your sun sign. Steve-O, is Steve-O here? Is that what you're talking about, Kelly? Kelly's husband is Steve-O Hopkins. So I don't know if he's here. I can't see him if he is, but you know what? Some of these places where people leave comments, you don't get to see them. And Jonathan says, sorry, I had to help the roof guys. No, don't be sorry. I'm glad that you're here. Hi, Steve. I haven't seen you in forever. Happy birthday. And happy birthday to anybody having their birthday today. We got a lot of August babies in here, it sounds like. So what time is it? We got about another 5 minutes. Anybody got any quick questions for me? Anything you want to ask? Or I feel bad about, I think it was Amanda that sent those pictures, because I think she might have sent some pictures too, because Dave and I cover those kind of things, or questions or comments. Hi, Facebook user said, hey, just stopping in real quick to say hi. Is that you, Steve-O? I have no idea, because you're coming up as Facebook user. If you want to stay anonymous, that's fine. You want me to pull a card? Okay, let me grab one. I got to go around here. I'm still here, guys. I don't always do readings, but we got time to fill. I didn't know that my guest was not going to be able to stay for a full 2 hours, and that's okay. I like doing shows on my own. Sorry. I've got my grand puppy at the end of behind my computer. So it's Steve-O. Okay. All right. Tell you what, I'll pull a card, and because we're not going to have enough time. Otherwise, I could have pulled cards all night long. Just so you know, if you're hearing me, I don't need cards to do a reading, but when we're doing stuff quick like this, I like to. So I'm going to pull a general card, and with the intention that hopefully it will resonate with anybody that's listening to this. Spirit knows who's listening, excuse me, and who's going to hear this on the replay and what have you. So give me a sec. What did we get here? Oh, now I got to put my glasses on because I can't see. I'm blind as a bat without them. Here, hang on. Actually, this might go well for everybody. So this card is partnership. I pulled it from something I think all of us could use, more abundance in our life. Christopher says, I'll take a reading. You guys, one of these nights, what I'm going to do. Okay, I don't even think I have a guest book for next week. I've kind of left things loosely open because I've got family in from out of town and what have you. It's actually a long weekend here today in Canada, but I know it's not around the rest of the world. That's why we're doing the show. But I've left this summer schedule a little looser, just with people on holidays and stuff like that. So next show I do live. You guys will know, when the banner comes out, usually around lunchtime on Mondays. I'll let you know if I'm doing a solo show, and we will do readings. So it says partnership. Allow healthful, supportive partnerships into your personal life and career, and both parties benefit as a result. You're receiving help from heaven and from a person who brings needed skills and resources. And I'm going to show you the card. I'm already getting a ton from Spirit. So take what resonates with you as you're listening to this and leave the rest. But the one thing Spirit wants you to be very aware of, because I'm literally hearing there's people out here that may hear this or are hearing this saying, well, I don't have anything like that around me. Spirit really wants you to pay attention to the signs and the symbols around you. And if you aren't getting any, ask for them. Your guides and Spirit will happily oblige. They really will. But you have to be open-minded. And just remember, when you receive a message from Spirit, that it's meant to flow like water. We can't force it. I've met people or mentored or worked with people. All of us were like this when we first started asking, when's my third eye going to open? What are the name of my guides? What are the name of my angels? And so on and so forth. And the more we try to push it, the less we're less able to even grasp it or get it. You just got to be open to it. And the one thing is, Spirit works in the strangest of ways. So just put it out into the universe. If you've got something coming up that you're working on or you want to manifest, put it out there and leave it to Spirit. Leave it to your guides, leave it to the universe, but also pay attention to the signs. Because as I said earlier in the show tonight, what made me realize all of us feel at times in our lives very alone, that we're here by accident. Why are we here when we never were sent here alone? Now, you've heard Carmen talk about it tonight, and that's what really hit me the first time she came on my show was we've all been given a complete soul map by an astrological birth chart, that you find somebody skilled like yourself or somebody else to read that for you. We have guides, we have angels, we have higher vibrational beings. There's so many things that we have around us here to help guide us, support us, and keep us on our path and why we're here. So maybe you've been thinking about doing something. Maybe you've been thinking about partnering with someone, and that ego is talking you out of it, saying, no, nobody will ever want to do that with me. Nobody will want to do this with me. Or maybe you've got a project you want to do, but you're talking yourself out of it. How about, and this is a challenge actually I'm hearing from Spirit, and I don't mean in a bad way, but how about you give yourself one day? And if one day is too much, maybe half a day, that everything that you feel, whether it's an idea, whether it's a thought, you don't know where it comes from, but you know it's coming in a place of love and meant for your highest good or other people's highest good. Follow it. Say yes. Don't say no. Don't have a conversation that we all do and talk ourselves out of things. How about you just say yes and see what happens? I think you're going to see the magic unfold and incredible things around you. Lastly, Spirit wants you to remember, when I say pay attention to the signs and the symbols, which is what Spirit is asking me to share with you, that includes license plates, songs, song lyrics, perfect timing. There are no such thing as coincidences. There can be serendipitous events, but pay attention to those because they happen for a reason. I know it's cliche, but everything does happen for a reason. Anyways, I love you guys so much. I hope you're going to hang out with me on Thursday night with me and David, and I hope that helps y'all. Like I said, I was trying to make that a little bit more general because we didn't have a lot of time. Otherwise, it could have been a bit more specific. But yeah, we'll be back here with the thing at the foot of the bed at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But if you guys ever want to get a hold of me, want to book a my brain is not working, even with the coffee. If you want to book a reading with me, I do mentoring, I do teaching. Let's see what else. You got a show idea, guest suggestion. I do Akashic Records. I do Crystal Reiki. I do all kinds of things like that. Therapeutic touch, which is such a misnomer because nobody gets touched, and you can do it long distance and things like that. Get a hold of me on facebook.com/The Angel Rock. I have 2 groups on Facebook, the Angel Rock, a tribe for many of the spiritual things like what we talked about tonight, and Paranormal University for all things paranormal. Please stay tuned. You want to hear more paranormal? We've got a great show coming up next with the Horsefly Chronicles with Julia and Phil Syracusa right after this. Hope y'all join me on Thursday night. Have a great rest of your morning, good afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be. And we'll see you then. Okay. Much love and light.